again, it's Vicki from the Higgins Bedford Art Gallery and Museum. And today I'm going to continue my tales about the great Bedford adventurer and army man who lived at the times of Queen Victoria. That's Colonel Frederick Gustavus Burnaby. Are you ready? After his wild travels around Europe and Russia, fighting in different armies, and then writing best-selling books about his adventures, our hero Burnaby became a little bit bored back at home. Needing a new hobby, he became interested in hot air ballooning, which was a very new and very dangerous way to travel in Victorian times. One day in London, Burnaby was watching his friend, who was an experienced balloonist, prepare for takeoff in his balloon. All of a sudden, Burnaby jumped into the basket just as the balloon was rising. With both of them in there, it was so heavy that had it fallen, it would have smashed through the dome of St Paul's Cathedral. 3 times the balloon passed over the Thames, with crowds of people watching and cheering, and it took 100 men to grab the ropes and to get the balloon to land safely again. Not put off by this almost deadly escapade, Burnaby spent many hours studying the subject of ballooning. On his next flight, the balloon exploded in mid-air. But fortunately, it acted like a parachute and Burnaby made it safely to the ground. He then planned a balloon trip across the Channel to France. In 1882, at Dover, Burnaby climbed into the wicker basket that was attached to his red and yellow striped balloon, named the Eclipse, and flew off alone in the direction of France. All he had with him were some roast beef sandwiches and a bottle of water. In fact, that sandwich there looks rather nice. I think I'm going to have that later. Later that day, Burnaby landed in Normandy in a field, terrifying some local chickens, and he became the first person to make a hot air balloon trip from England to France on their own. Burnaby went up in a balloon 19 times in his life and was very lucky to have survived. It's now 1884. Back in the army again, Burnaby decided to go to the Sudan in northeast Africa, where another regiment of the British Army was fighting. He wasn't meant to be there again, but couldn't resist travelling and fighting for his country. He was quite badly wounded, but this didn't stop him going on a further dangerous mission up the River Nile. Leading his regiment in the famous Battle of Abu Klea, he ran to the front line, heroically saving another soldier's life. But later in the battle, Burnaby's good luck finally ran out, when suddenly, from behind, the great man was stabbed in the shoulder. Then from the front, another man charged at him with an 8-foot spear. William McGonagall, said to be the worst poet in the English language, wrote sometime later, "Oh, it was an exciting and terrible sight to see Colonel Burnaby engaged in the fight, with sword in hand, fighting with might and main, until killed by a spear thrust to the jugular vein." When news of his death reached London, Queen Victoria was said to have fainted with shock. She had loved hearing all about his adventures when he had been to dinner with her in Windsor Castle. Men were crying in the streets, and newspapers had pages and pages about the life and death of this amazing man. The music halls were filled with songs about brave Burnaby, and Madame Tussauds featured his enormous waxwork figure. Here in Bedford, there is a commemorative window in St Peter's Church you can go and visit. There is Burnaby House on Burnaby Road and the Burnaby Arms pub on Stanley Street. A great hero of his time who survived frostbite, typhoid being poisoned and an exploding air balloon. He explored Uzbekistan, commanded the Turkish army, learned to speak 7 different languages, crossed the Channel alone by air, and wrote a string of best-selling books. That was Colonel Frederick Gustavus Burnaby. Thank you so much for joining me, and really hope to see you again soon at the Higgins. Bye.